for the purposes of our record.
Yes, yes.
The years that you were in Milledgeville up until you were 17, you were born in 1957, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about late 50s through the 60s.
I was there until 1980.
Until 1980. And then, Kelly, your time, like when you first were walking by and meeting Flannery, what years were those?
I was in 56, 57, 58, 59. I kept it up. I was pretty faithful, and I was ridiculously walking past her house without ever going in. And for years, I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had grown up in grammar school, mostly in other places in Middle Georgia with my mother. My mother and my father were divorced. My father was working on his third wife. During that, I was living with his third wife, and they were living together when he died in 1962.
Everybody's related.
The third wife was the Presbyterian that inspired me partially to become Presbyterian, and spent Christmases the last years of
At
our
the
life
Nelligans.
at the Nelligans. So
And Harriet was my daughter's godmother.
Wow.
So we're closer than we
His
appear to be.
stepmother.
Yeah. That's the reason I don't mind inviting myself to her house. But I never was invited to personally that I can remember, to the Nelligans or the Harrisons or the O'Connors. But we, one Christmas, borrowed, Robert tells me I should tell this story. I borrowed because the church, Methodist church, needed a donkey. I thought they needed a donkey for a Christmas pageant kind of thing in the church building itself, and we were going to take the donkey from, it was one of those, there was then in an old church, had a door on one side of what Jews would call the bema, and another door on the other side, and there's this semicircular altar where the Methodists came down and knelt and did the communion. And the idea was the donkey was going to go from one door around the semicircular walkway in front of, or kneelway in front of the altar, and disappear on the other side. Meantime, the Reverend was going to, who had a beautiful voice, was going to be singing from the mezzanine area, the balcony area behind the a cappella "O Holy Night," which is my father's favorite Christmas hymn. The church was packed, it was going to be packed, and we were going to do this very special thing. And Flannery O'Connor, I was told, wouldn't go with that at all unless Kelly came out and got the donkey. Well, I didn't have a driver's license, so I had to commandeer a truck, or get a friend, as I did this morning, to use his truck to help me. And we got the truck, and it was big enough for the donkey, and we went out to Andalusia, the farm where Flannery and her mother lived. And the first time I ever remember being there, and the last time I ever remember being there. And Flannery O'Connor came out and greeted me immediately, and we started a conversation about whatever it was for a while. And by that time, I knew she had written an outrageous book called Wise Blood. Outrageous because the elders said so. I had read it and didn't think it was outrageous at all. That's another story. When I got to college, I wrote about that book and got in trouble with Flannery and my professor simultaneously over it. But on this occasion, I had just read Wise Blood, and so I admired her. She has absolutely unique way of expressing herself, and nobody in the world, like, as far as I know, I've never read anybody whose style even came close to Flannery O'Connor's, and I don't mean better necessarily than Hemingway or Faulkner or somebody else that wrote beautifully, but certainly different and wonderful. And I knew that, so I admired her. I was I'm sure by that time, to kind of step on my toes, shy about it. I also had a professor or teacher at Georgia Military College. I was going to military college for high school, who was in the reading, the book club with her, who frequently comment about how devastating she was. She didn't suffer fools at all, didn't put up with anything dumb at all. and he would tell stories about her cutting the legs out from under somebody who made some dumb remark. And she didn't just roll her eyes, she said whatever it was she thought. And so I was intimidated, scared to death. I said, we need a donkey. She said, I haven't got one. I said, I was told to come out here because we could get the donkey. She said, I've got a Hinny. Do you know what a Hinny is? I said, no, ma'am, I don't know what a Hinny is. A Hinny is a female donkey. The male is a donkey. Do you know what a dog is? I said, yes, ma'am. You know what a bitch is? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, donkeys and Hinnies are like dogs and bitches. Do you get that now? And I said, yes, ma'am, I got that now. Can I borrow your Hinny? And she laughed and said, yes, you can. So she said, I got to warn you, though, this is a Catholic donkey. She said that very serious. This is a Catholic donkey. Doesn't mean the donkey doesn't, or the Hinny doesn't like Protestants. She doesn't know any Protestants. So that's the problem. She has no idea what a Protestant is like, and she will not feel comfortable with you at all. So yes, I'm thinking you're giving the Hinny way too much credit. I didn't say so, but I thought this is goofy. This can't be right. And so we loaded up the Hinny in the truck, went in the truck just as nice as pie, and I thought, this is not going to have any problems with this Hinny. Went to the Methodist church, opened the tailgate. We're going to put the Hinny in the Methodist church, and a room reserved for the Hinny just at the side entrance. One that had all kind of paper and newspaper and stuff spread out so that if the Hinny did anything, it wouldn't damage the church. And we had, in order to get the Hinny in the building, we had to cross a moat, and there was a couple of wide boards put there to cross the moat from the yard to the entrance, and we were sure that the Hinny would just go right on in. No, the Hinny would not move. Would not move. We tried everything. Finally, it took about an hour. We were going to be a couple hours ahead of the pageant. That we gave up. Just at the hell with it for about a second and a half. Hinny trotted directly. I mean, I almost ran across the boards down the hall to the minister's office, which was probably the most civilized place in the church. Had all kind of nice things, pictures and books and things. Went over to the desk of the minister, bent over and did both numbers on the desk.
I know this story.
Have you heard this story?
And then I didn't know it was you.
Yeah, it's me.
It is a Catholic Hinny.
Took us quite a lot of time to clean up the mess.
To take care of the Protestants.
Then the Hinny went right down to the room. As soon as she had done what she wanted to do, she went right down to the room where all the paper was spread out, and we parked her in that room until the pageant time, until her time to perform. She didn't do a damn thing in there. And I mean, she had done her number. She was through. After a while, it came to pageant, and the moment of the pageant where the Hinny of the donkey is going to have Mary with the little baby representing Jesus, and I'm going to be Joseph. We're going to lead the donkey around the altar while the minister sings O Holy Night. She went right down the hall to the door, opened the door. She almost went in. I thought, this is going to be easy as pie. Thank God. The minister began to sing. We couldn't get her to move, couldn't get her to move, couldn't get her to move. Again, she would not move, would not move. Nothing would get the donkey to move. The minister went through a holy night twice, finally gave up. And I got the girl off the donkey on the floor, holding the baby, and we started across forgot to close the door fast enough. Guess who came charging around the altar at that point on her own? Yes, the Hinny. Stopped only long enough to deposit again. This time right in the middle of the sanctuary. Just looked at the audience as if to say, serves you right. And trotted on it nicely into into the
Room again.
other side, as though she's guided. She knew exactly where to go. She knew where she was going the whole time. It appeared, and she knew what she was doing the whole time. It appeared. Didn't have any trouble after that. She went right across the walk, got back in the truck, went out to the farm. By then it was very dark, and that you got to remember, this is way before cell phones. This is the middle '50s. I think I'm a high school student.
Way before street lights.
And no Methodist that I knew of would want to call Flannery about anything anyway. So I don't think for a minute that anybody called Flannery to tell her anything. This is a story about Flannery's intuition and her foreknowledge of anything. And so we get back to the farm, we pull up in the truck, and Flannery O'Connor comes out on the side porch with a screen and the light on there, as I remember it. I'm not sure. That's the way I remember it. Whether there was a screen or not, I don't remember. But I remember her coming out on the little side porch or into the yard and doing this way to me. And I came over, and as I came over, she said, "Well, how did it go?" And I said, "It went just fine." And she said, "Well, you come here in the light, the light of the porch. You come here in the light and tell me that." And I came into the light, and she looked at my face for a minute or two and sat down hard. She was laughing so hard. She said, "I told you that was a Catholic donkey. You got what you deserved." You make a Hinny feel uncomfortable, and she will pay you back. Don't you ever forget that. And I said, I won't. So today, I think I asked her if Catholics all felt that way. She said, "No, but not all Catholics are Hinnies." And that was, we put the Hinny back, and I went on about my life.
Now, was that Equinox, the donkey? Do you happen to remember?
I don't know that.
her
Nobody
name?
ever told me the donkey's name. It was a Hinny is all I
It
remember.
was a Henny. I've heard tell of Equinox.
Well, I think she only had one donkey-like creature. Now there were no male donkeys, nobody else. So if Equinox was the Hinny you know about, is probably that
I've
Hinny.
heard of Equinox,
Yeah.
the Catholic donkey.
The Catholic donkey, yeah.
Catholic donkey, and that was you.
That was me.
That's fabulous.
Well,
Do you-
which I learned. I don't know what I learned, but it was a damn good story.
It's a really good story.
I learned a lot from the second adventure. I'd like to tell about later because it's my favorite and it changed my life.